Get ready to immerse yourself in a world of vision, inspiration, belonging, and empowerment. Brought to you by Naturals To Go, the VIBEcast is your gateway to realizing your entrepreneurial dreams. In each episode, we're here to ignite your entrepreneurial spirit, offering you the tools and insights you need to turn your dreams into reality. We're all about fostering a powerful vision, sparking inspiration, nurturing a sense of belonging, and providing the empowerment you need to thrive. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive into the vibe. It's time to take your entrepreneurial journey to the next level. Thank you for joining us, and let's start living the vibe.
Hey folks, Linda Ballesteros here. Welcome to VIBEcast. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day to spend with me, because I know we all have a lot of things going on, a lot of plate spinning, as I would say. So today we're going to be talking about the women's movement in business. I recently read an article, and it had some interesting stats in it that I want to share with you. This article was 2024 Women in Business Stats. One of the stats was in the U.S., women start approximately 849 new businesses every single day, and the number is increasing. Amazing, isn't it? The other stat that I thought was really interesting, women-owned businesses have grown 114% in the last 2 decades. So that's what we're going to be talking about today with Alesia Visconti, and she is the CEO of FranServe, which is the world's largest franchise consulting organization. Alesia, thank you so much for taking time clearly out of your busy day with us.
Oh, Linda, it's my pleasure. Anytime to talk about women in business, you can count on me.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I love your frame here. So I love all the superheroes because, Alesia, we all have that superhero in us. And sometimes women forget it. We have so many things going on. So tell me a little bit about how did you get into this franchising market here?
Well, I think unless you come from it, we all just kind of fall into it. Right. I don't know any 10-year-old who says, hey, when I grow up, I want to be a franchise. Right? So unless you're in it, from a family start, you're on my side, which you stumble into it. So that's what happened with me. I've been CEO and president for different companies over the years, always in a service business, because early, I was a life and career coach. So I always have that. I have to leave people better off than when I found them, right? So that's we have that gene in us if we have that. So I was, CEO and president of a company that was involved in careers and helping executives and climbing the corporate ladder. And I had that position for a number of years. And I just saw over time, I don't know, corporate not really supporting people like they were. And we saw age discrimination coming up a lot. Women coming back from maternity, veterans coming back from tour duty. It just wasn't, they were invisible. All those people were invisible. And I said, there's got to be something better that we can do for people. We've had clients for years. And so I went, to the all-powerful Google and started typing in some, I don't know, what the heck I typed in. But after a while, careers, I don't know. But after a while, something came up called franchise consulting. And I said, what the heck is that? And that's what it was. It was being a matchmaker, if you will. I call it a business matchmaker of helping people own a franchise. Mm-hmm. And I said, this is what I want to do. I want to help people get away from corporate America, open their own business, work on generational growth, bring people into business ownership, because I had owned businesses, never franchising, but I had owned businesses. And so that's what I started to do. And I became a broker or consultant for FranServe in 2014. And luck happened. 2016, our founder wanted to retire. I got approached and I bought the company. So very crazy. You never know what's going to happen in life or in business day to day, right, Linda?
Sometimes it's best if you don't plan too far out and you just kind of let things unfold. I think there are probably some women listening to this interview right now and may be able to relate, because I can certainly relate to what you were talking about. I was in corporate banking for 30 plus years, and I remember going into my boss saying, I'm leaving. And he said, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know, but it has to be more purposeful. And I didn't have a clue as to what that is, but I think there does come a time when we look at that corporate environment, and folks, don't send me any hate mail. I love corporate. It definitely serves a purpose in our economy. But there came a point in my life, and maybe in other women, especially life, that I just no longer felt fulfilled at the end of the day. And it sounds like that's where you got as well.
It did. I got frustrated because, again, good people, we were used to working with, really good people, and they wanted to achieve, and they just weren't, we're not being recognized, we're not being appreciated. It also disturbed me, women's pay, so extreme in corporate, where in franchising, it's very equal. You don't have that big giant gap. So I just, for a lot of reasons, and I knew nothing about franchise. I mean, I could spell the word. I knew franchising. I knew how to spell it. But honestly, that was my only knowledge. I never owned a franchise before, and I never even worked at one. Like most kids, work at a fast. I never even worked at one. So it was a brand new avenue for me. But I do trust my gut. I do. Listen to that. Women have very good intuition. I listened to my gut and knew it was the right path and never looked back.
So, Alesia, when you were working as a consultant, as a franchise broker, did you find that women came to you for some of the same reasons that maybe you left corporate?
Yeah, I think what happens too, and it's not for everyone. And there are a lot of paths for women to come into franchising. It doesn't have to be franchise ownership, but I think for women who have that, who want to be an entrepreneur, who want something more or something more for their family, or maybe to work with their spouse or their adult child, there's something that nags at them. And I think that is why women are getting a voice, are moving forward. And as I call it, I don't know if you know, Linda, but I have a book coming out called The Pink Tsunami, Women's Rise in Franchising. So I'm very passionate about women coming into the franchise space.
Okay, so let's back up just a little bit. I love that title, The Pink Tsunami. So did this come out of the many years that you've been in franchising? Where did this story come from?
I woke up one day and knew it. I know it sounds so crazy. I know it. I had not been thinking about writing a book or doing anything like that. But I'm very passionate about empowering people as a whole, women, of course, especially because I am one. And I literally, the day before, had no notion of writing a book. And I woke up and I told my husband, I said, I'm going to write a book, and I know what it's about, and I know the title, and I know what I want it to achieve. And that was that. I sat down and started writing the book.
So can you give a little bit of a teaser? Because it's not coming out until the end of...
Towards the end of this year. Yeah, it'll come out towards the end of this year, right? It's 80% done. But, there's always edits and tweaks, and I have a wonderful editor. But yeah, what it's about is it's about how women can enter franchising and the rise within. I mean, with all due respect to male, colleagues, franchising was really, very heavily dominated by men for many years. And it's not that they've done anything wrong. It's just that, when you're more diverse and you're more balanced, that's more lifelike, that's more realistic. And you need women see things differently. I'm also, a big champion for diversity, people of color, people who are marginalized. So I think with what my purpose was not necessarily to write a book on how to be a franchise owner or, how to own a franchise. I mean, I do include a chapter on, if you want to be a franchisee, but, as I joke, all paths lead to franchising, right? So I want women to realize that Hey, if you're a teacher, maybe you can be a trainer in franchising. If you are an attorney, maybe you look at franchise law. If you're in real estate, maybe you come into franchising and help do locations, right? So there's so many ways to be involved in franchising that it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to own the franchise, but maybe you do, or maybe you have your own business right now and you think maybe I could be a franchise. Maybe I could be a franchisor. How do I go about doing that? And we outline the steps in the book. So it's more about bringing women into the franchise community than, how do I be a successful franchise owner? And that's not out there. There's lots of great books on how to be a good franchisee, how to be profitable, how to own a franchise, how to buy, but not really how to embrace the franchise space. And I want women to think about that because there's many more opportunities in franchising than in corporate America. And as we talked about, Linda, much more equal pay. And that is not a bad thing.
That is not a bad thing, is exactly right. And I think that maybe sometimes women may think, well, the franchising, the burgers and fries, it's a lot of money. But like you said, you don't have to own a franchise. There are so many providers and that actually provide service to support that franchise business model.
That's exactly right. I don't own a franchise. I own a broker network, right? I don't own a franchise, and we support franchises. There's accountants. There's everything that's in corporate America is in franchising, right? It's just a little different, right? There's marketing, there's IT, there's space allocation, there's all of that, right? That goes into place. Signs, marketing, colors, all of the branding, all of that. But in franchising, it is definitely you get very passionate about it because the end result really does change people's lives. And I can't tell you how rewarding that is. Equal pay is great, but that is something that is priceless.
Working with a single mom that is looking for a way to, maybe she didn't want to quit her job because that's where her benefits are, but she wants something on the side that can help provide a little extra cash so that she can buy that home for her kids. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, isn't it?
It so is. And you can work for a franchisor, you can work for a franchisee, right? Franchisees need help, and so you can put a toe in the water, so to speak. You can do what I did and just like jumped in, right? And but I want women to know that there's paths, there's avenues, because I think most people, when they think of franchising, things, I have to have $1 million and I got to buy a franchise, and that's the way I'm in franchising. And I think that's the way it was. And as a woman coming in with no experience in franchising and seeing all the different paths, if I could get just a few women to think about it and explore it, it's a world of difference to them.
So, Alesia, when we go back and look at some of the numbers that I mentioned at the top of the show, that women-owned business have grown 114% in 2 decades. Have you seen evidence of that since you've been in franchising?
I have. I started in franchising 10 years ago. I just literally last month celebrated my 10-year, I call it a franiversary, right?
Oh, I love it.
But I have. When I came in, there were very few women brokers and executives and all of that. We see a lot more come in the franchise development side. There's a lot more women of all ages too. You've gotten everything from retirees to people just starting their careers. It's amazing how it's opened up. And we do see growth in women coming into franchising more and more, including ownership. That's the fastest growing segment, is women owned as franchisees. But fast growth is fabulous, but it's still not making the numbers dent that I want to over the whole. right? It's still a male. And again, it's not like I'm anti-male, but I like balance. I like balance, right? That's the yin and yang. That's reality. So I'd like to see more women come into that space. They are great communicators. They build relationships. They get to know people differently than how men sometimes, kind of think. And we like that. We like building the more personal side and the warmer side, if you will. And especially since COVID, you see more people ache for that, right? If there was anything, and it was a horrible situation, but if there was anything that came out of COVID, it is how precious relationships and human contact is. And women excel at that.
Yes, 100%. I agree with you. So, how do we get that message out, Alesia? How is it that I know that the launch of your book is going to certainly deliver that message, but what about the other women that are in franchising now? How could we extend that message to women who are maybe seeking and they don't know where to look?
And that's what I think happens is they don't know where to go, and then fear comes up a little bit or uncertainty, and it's like, oh, that was a great idea, but and then that's it. There goes your dream. So in franchising, there's women's groups, the International Franchise Association, which I'm very active in. I'm in like 5 committees and boards. There's a women's group. Women will embrace other women in franchising. We are a community within a community. We empower each other. We all know what it's like to sit at the table and, just kind of be overlooked now and then, right? If you don't have a strong voice. And so we encourage everybody to either speak up or have a mentor or either officially or unofficially. And like anything else, if you extend your hand, someone will come over and grasp it and help you. And we've all been on that side at one point or another. And my favorite quote is, "Well-behaved women rarely make history."
And that is very true.
So we have a big voice, and all you have to do is do a little first step, and we'll come and greet you.
Well, when we talk about and especially the generations, Alesia, I came from a generation where we really didn't have a seat at the table. We sat against the wall. Now, this younger generation coming up, that doesn't even enter their head. They grab the seat at the table. So are you seeing more young women really stepping into the franchise community here?
We see more of them. Yes, I think they're still trying to find their way exactly. When I'm on a lot of boards, there are times I am the only woman that's sitting at that table, which is why, like, I had to put the book out to show them that there's paths. There's a lot of male franchisors and people, like we call them suppliers, people who support the franchise space, who so welcome women. They make great employees, they make great suppliers, they make great franchisees. The men are welcoming them. It's a matter of getting women aware of that there's a space and I'll say a need for them to come into it. If we're going to make changes in the business world, it will, there's strength in numbers, right? I am not exactly a wallflower. I am not a timid girl, but if I'm the only one at the table, that's not a lot of numbers, which is why I'm so outspoken about getting women to think about, just look a little bit on this side instead of just always run into corporate. Just look over here,
There could be another option for you, right?
Yeah, just options. Options are always good, so you can plot out your future.
Yeah, definitely. We're coming down to the end of the show, but if there's someone listening and maybe they're just dissatisfied with their current job, what would you suggest that they do to maybe explore what those options are? What would be the first step, the direction you would give them?
Well, a couple of things. One, when my book comes out, definitely get it. But also, I would say, with all, joking aside, right? Our computers are our best friends. Go to I'll give you the International Franchise Association website. It's real easy. It's franchise.org. There's a plethora of information about all things franchising. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect women with, it's kind of what I do, right? The business matchmaker, it's still in me. I was a life and career coach. I'm used to that. Happy to introduce people. I know an awful lot of people in franchising. It's just about you taking that first little step through the door. Just that little baby step. That's all I'm asking.
And also know, taking that baby step, there's going to be some fear, but don't let that fear stop you, right?
We always say fear is your friend, right? Because, courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is having the fear and doing the action anyway. So fear can be your friend, because if you're afraid to move forward or you're afraid, just think about it the other way. What's the fear of staying where you are? You're not happy, you're miserable. So see, fear can be a great motivator to go to something better. So that's why I say fear can be your friend. We all fear something, the unknown. We're going to look like a fool. Our friends are going to tell us no, blah, blah, blah. All of us have that horrible noise in our head. But what would we tell our sister? What would we tell our best friend? That's what we have to tell ourselves, right? And you would be kind and supportive of, if your best friend says, I think I want to do this. Do I sound crazy? What would you say? You would say, why don't you explore that? So why don't we say that to ourselves? I'm giving you permission to say that to yourselves.
I love that. I love that. Alesia, one more time, what's the name of your book and when do you expect it to launch?
It is the Pink Tsunami, Rise in Women Franchising, and it will be out by the end of this year, probably in the next 6 weeks.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, folks, I'm really glad you joined me today. And as always, I leave you with a quote. And this quote is, "Don't be intimidated by what you don't know. That can be your greatest strength and ensure that you do things differently from everyone else." This is a quote by Sarah Blakely, who is the founder of Spandex. Exactly what Alesia was talking about. Just do it differently, do it the way it feels right, but just do it. Alesia, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing. I can't wait till your book comes out, because I'm going to definitely get a copy for myself.
Well, thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. And thank you to your audience. And I have to say, I hope everyone has a fantastic day.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, folks. Until next time, let's go out and live the vibe.
That's a wrap for this episode of the VIBEcast. We hope you've been inspired and empowered on your entrepreneurial journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all your favorite platforms to stay connected with the Vibe community. Until next time, keep nurturing that strong vision, fueling your inspiration, and embracing a sense of belonging and empowerment. Your dreams are within reach, so keep living the vibe.